Hey, what's up guys? This is Handy Andy here, and this is 6 plus 3. So today, we are doing something a little bit different than usual. Now, you may say, now, this looks an awful lot like a circuit board. Well, yes, it is a circuit board, except that it's on grass, which doesn't exactly make sense if you're trying to make a circuit board, but it works because it's Minecraft, you know? So, yes. This is, in fact, a calculator. So, let's just get down here, and, no, what are you, hey, you, hello, moo, yes, cow, what are you doing here? Like, this, you know, this isn't a calculator, like, what are you doing here? Hello, hi, you want a snack? Oh, okay, here you are, wait, no, you probably don't want that, I know, I'll give you some cake, there you are, there's a snack, alright. So, this is a calculator. So, I'll explain how it works, and it's actually very simple, and this is actually a lot bigger than it needs to be built, I discovered. So, basically how this works is you input any two numbers, and it will give you the answer. Now, this is in binary, so let's take any two numbers, like let's say, and it can only be up to 63. 63 plus 63 is the maximum this can go. So let's say 3, I'll just turn this off. Let's take 23 plus 34. So 23, that is 16 plus 4 is 20, plus 2, plus 1, that's 23. And plus, what was the other number? 34, I think? So, 32 plus 2 is 34. So, now we're all ready. We hit calculate, and 3 seconds later, we get our full answer. So basically, the first and easiest thing to explain is this calculate lever, where you flip it and it turns machine off or turns machine on. And this is the easiest thing to explain because all it does is it activates a trail of redstone that apparently I left a hole in the floor here, so I'll just go through that. It activates a trail of redstone with instant wire and stuff like that instead of repeaters, just so that it can be fast, so you can time how long it takes to calculate. So it activates a trail of redstone, and what this does, this is from your levers upstairs where you input the numbers. So let's say you inputted a 32, which we did. It will go and extend this piston, which will complete this circuit, which will allow the redstone to pass on off into the calculator. And I believe I'm stuck. Yes. And the lever will also go over here and activate this, which will extend these pistons, which will allow this trail of redstone to cross into the calculator. And this trail is from these levers over here. So that is simply all this lever does. So basically, once you get all these wires coming through, it goes into the circuitry. So basically, what this is, just in brief, is this is a really complicated XOR gate, and this is an AND gate. XOR, by the way, means exclusive OR, which means that it will only output if only one of the inputs is on. Now, this is easier to see. I've built another version of this calculator, replacing the XOR gates with smaller ones, and they're easier to see. So, and I may get back to this at the end of the video, how this XOR gate actually works, because it's really quite cool. But for now, I'm going to get into the other calculator. Alright, here we are. And the first thing you may notice is this is a lot smaller than the previous one was. And you know what? This is a lot smaller. It's about like half the size, I believe. Somewhere around that. And so, how this works, and by the way, command blocks weren't actually used in the making of this. The command blocks were just used to make a reset for the levers, a quick reset. So, this is all done with regular redstone. You could do this in survival mode if you wanted. But anyways, let's get into how it works. So basically, you get the input from the two ones. So the ones are the levers at the end here. So this one goes along this first stone thing, and this other one goes down under the ground, right here. And this will go along and come up right beside the other one. So we've got the two ones there. And it does the same thing for all the other numbers. So, this will take the two ones, and basically what it does is, here is an XOR gate, and here's an AND gate. Just like in the previous one, except that this XOR gate is a lot smaller. So what this will do is it will determine if only one of the inputs is on, it will output. So, let's say you had, let's just reset the levers. Just make sure all this reset. Yep. Alright. So let's say you had one on. So that's this here. This input. So this will go into the XOR gate, and it will determine that indeed, here. Alright, now I have my mouse. So this will determine that indeed you have one input on, but not the other one. And so it will output. And it will go all the way over to the display and tell you that you have a 1. Now, it will also work with the other lever too. So if I turn that one on and that one off, now, as you can see, there is only one on, and it's this one this time, and it still outputs. So that's perfect. Now, if we turn both on, what it will do is it will determine, I will flip this way so that you can see the place value. It will determine that you have two inputs on, you have two ones, and 1 plus 1 does not equal 1. So what it will do is it won't output anything. But what it will do is, well, actually that doesn't do it, but if both these inputs are on, they're also feeding into this AND gate. And this AND gate will determine if both inputs are on, so if it's 1 plus 1, then it equals 2. So this is the carry. So it carries into the 2's. And this, and that, I mean, was a half adder. Now moving on to this. This is the full adder. Now, the difference is just that it is two half adders chained together. So basically what it does, this is exactly the same, except this has a longer stone brick bridge, which I will just fix just quickly. Voila! It is all fixed in the blink of an eye, or even quicker. Now, I hope my computer fans aren't too loud, because they are running a little bit hard, but they should be fine. Anyways, so this here is the 2's. And yes, so it's, this part of it is, hang on, I'm just going to get rid of this. There we go. Just had to reload the world. Alright, so this is exactly the same as this. So what this does, this will add 2 plus 2, and it will determine whether, if it's only 1, 2. So these are coming directly from the levers. So if only one of these is on, the output is a 2. But if both of these are on, the output is a 4, so it will carry. But it also, after that, it has to add the carry from the 1s. So if 1 plus 1 equals 2, well, of course 1 plus 1 does equal 2, but if you have 1 plus 1 instead of 1 plus 0, then 1 plus 1 equals 2, so it will carry. So then you've got the carry plus the output of this. So then you have to take the 2 plus 2 here and add that with the carry, and that will output. If this is outputting and this is outputting, then it is a 4, so it'll carry. But if only one is outputting, then it is a 2, so it will run to the display. And so then you get the carry from this function and the carry from this function. And I feel like I'm being very complicated when I'm explaining this. If you want any clarification, just write a comment and I'll try and clarify a little bit. But yeah, so you get the carry from this, and if either of these carries are on, then it goes into the 4's place. So then the 4's is just a repeat of the 2's, and then there's the 8's, and the 16's, and the 32's, and then the carry from the 32's is the 64's, which is this, and it just runs along all the way to the display. Ta-da! So, this is in brief how the calculator works. So, what I thought we could do this time is add some more, or at least one more, place value. So, let's say, so what are we up to here? We're in the 64's place, and we have an input of up to the 32's place. So what we'll do is we'll add an extra place value. So we will add the 64's place to our input. So right now, this can take 32 plus all of this, which is equal to 63. So this will take a number up to 63 plus 63, but we want to change that so that it will take a number from 127, which is just one less than 128. So a number of 127 plus 127, which will output 254, I believe. So, alright, so let's start adding it. So first, we need to add a lever. So we will fill in the floor. What's down there? No, this is just, we're just in the middle of wires, so it's okay. Just wires, no big deal. It's not like a calculator needs wires or something. Anyways, here we are with one row. And there we are. Now we can add the levers. So lever, and I will just label this. So this is 64's. And that is not 63. 64 is not 6 and 3. 6 tens and and I just did it again. Alright, there we are. So now we will run this lever over here and bring it up above. This is just to keep it out of the way of the other wire. So here we go, and it's running up, and we'll run it back a little bit of a ways. We won't run it the whole way just yet. And we'll finish putting in this redstone. And, whoops, there we are. What am I doing? There we are. And we need to connect this lever. So this one is a little bit more complicated because, as you can tell, like, we just ran this straight back. But if we were to run this straight back, it would end up in the forest instead of in the calculator. So what I decided to do was to loop it under the ground. So we'll extend the redstone back here. We'll just turn all these on just to just so that we can tell what's working and what isn't here. There we are. So now this is on. Whoops. Well, we'll just leave it like that for a minute. So what we need to do is, first of all, fill in this hole. Here's the grass. Dum da dum 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 da dum dum. And we'll move the hole back a bit. And there we are. So now here we come to the piston. And the only problem is that this is in the way. What I need to do with this is... hang on. I need to string this around the other way. No, I don't. No, I don't. I just need to put it under the ground. So... yeah. So I'll be right back as soon as I get this under the ground. Alright, so I've successfully got this under the ground. And hopefully this will work once I get all the blocks in on top. But, so now what we need to do is fill this in and fill in our thing. So I'm just going to fill this ground in. Alrighty, so this ground is all filled in. Everything appears to be ready to go. So I will just engage the calculator again. And there we are. So now that's down. So now we can see what works. So back to this piston. So we need to put a sticky piston with a block of something or other and attach it at the top. Oh, that actually works. I didn't know that works. I just put a wood block there just to make sure. But anyways, now here we go. We fill in this track for the redstone. And preferably don't fall in a hole, but, you know, these things happen. It's Minecraft. That's why you have flying mode. Well, I don't know. You don't have flying mode in survival, but whatever. So this should be all filled in a second. And fill in the redstone. We need a repeater here. There we are. So here comes the... you're supposed to be going through what seems to be the matter. Oh, I figured out what the problem is. I don't have a repeater. Ta-da! Just straight redstone won't pick up through a block. Duh. I'm staring right at those repeaters there, and I'm like, I don't know what could be the matter, you know. I don't know if something's wrong, and I don't know what it is, and everything. Anyways, so here we need to boost the signal, and there we are. So now we have the levers, and we have the signal running out through under the ground, and my FPS is really low. I'm going to adjust that. Limit this. There we are. Yeah, so far we have this running through the ground and coming out. And we have the wires ready to work with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish extending these wires and be back in a minute. There we go. So I'm just gonna label this wire. So this is the 64s. I'm not sure if there should be an S there, but it seems to look better. Whatever. So now, over here, we have the 32s. Now, what we need to do is just get rid of this wire, because this is the carry wire that goes to the display. Alright, now, one thing you may notice is different is that the computer fan suddenly stopped. Well, basically what's going on here is I had to stop recording for a little while, and it turns out it's like a week later now, and I'm getting back into it and finishing the circuit, which also means that the computer's not as hot, so the fans aren't as noisy in your head. So yeah. Anyways, we'll get back into this. So where were we? We had... Alright, so we have the wires here from the levers. And over here, we have the output wire. That goes... So what... The last conversion that we did... 32s. Alright. So then here's the carry into the 64s. And that's what this wire is, going back to the display to display the 64s. So we want to add the carry to the 128s. So we need to take the 64s, and 64 plus 64 is 128, which means that we need another calculator circuit, which means that everything is redstone, basically. So, now there's two ways we could do it. I've got it set up over here. This is a cloning block. Well, not a it's an area that I can clone. So we can take this and just clone it in place. But also we can build it manually. And I'm thinking of building it manually and maybe explain it at the same time or something. So, and I want to build it exactly the same as the other ones, just because I like things to be exactly the same, so, you know. So, I'm going to put in a row of yellow wool. You don't really need that. It's just to divide the, it's just to show the division. So, there's this thing, and one, and there. That's the way I put it. So, this thing, and then one, and then here's the yellow wool. Now, the yellow wool starts right here, and whoops, I'm going to fill this one in. So it starts right here and goes all the way. I think that's a little bit loud for you, probably, maybe. Goes all the way down to here. There we go. Ah! There's a lake underwater. I mean, there's a lake underground. There's a lake underwater. What am I talking about? Of course there's a lake underwater. Fluffy, fluffy, fluffy. Now, there we are. So that just is a visual division. So, first thing we need is we need these two inputs. So, here comes input number 1. Oops. Didn't want that there. My FPS seems to be slow. Yeah, it is. Whatever. I'll just live with it. It probably won't show in the video. I don't know. It does on some people's recorders and it doesn't on others. And I haven't specifically checked this one, but anyways. So, here we go. And there we go. So now we just need to fill in the wire. There we are. And boost it. Alright. So, now we've got the two inputs here. The two 64s. And we want to add them. So, first thing we need is we need XOR. That's what it's called. Exclusive OR gate. So, where did I put it? I put it right about there. Alright. So this is the first step to building the circuit. So, whoops, I don't have any torches. Torch. Thank you. Alrighty. Torch, torch, torch. 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 There we are. There's some torches. And fill in the rest of the gate. Boom. There we are. And there's the output. So, bring these wires in and connect them. And take this one and connect it. Except that it needs to be boosted, so I'll boost it. There we are. So now we've got an exclusive OR working. And how much extra? Alright, so this is, it's got a power of 8. Yeah, so we've still got about 8 more blocks it can go. So, this is the exclusive OR. This adds and checks if it goes in the 64s column. Now, it's getting dark in my room all of a sudden. That's weird. Alright, so the next step is if it's too much for the 64s, then it carries into the 128s. So this is what calculates the carries. This is an AND gate. How did I wire this? What it needs is one from both of these inputs to go over there. So, oh, yeah, I did it simply like this. Ooh, weird noises. Alright. Now this, let me get some stone bricks. And boom. There we are. So, this is simply what calculates if there's 1 or 2 64s on. Now, from this, we also need to take this and calculate the carry. So, we will put in another exclusive OR gate right about here. Doink, I think. No. Doink. There we are. I'm going to, I think I was a little bit complicated when I explained it in the first half of the video. So, I'm going to put a link in the description to a video by either Computerphile or Numberphile. I think this one was Numberphile. I don't quite remember at the moment which video I'm thinking of right now, but I'll definitely put a link for it in the description, so you can check it out if you want a more clear explanation. So we need inputs into this second. Oh yes, I have it over one. Here, I'll just quickly move this. There, it's moved. So, we need, this is to add the carry. So, boom. There's the one there's the input from input 1 and input 2. And then here is the input from the carry. And there we go. I think that's how I wired it. No, I wired it just straight. And yes. So alrighty. Now what we need is we need the carry from this. So the carry from the addition of these two. Basically what it is there's maximum 3 numbers you can add, or you can need to add in binary. So you will have the number, and I'm going to see in post-production or mid-production. I think editing is called post-production. I'm not sure. But, oh, I forgot something in the sand gate. That may be useful. So I'm going to see if I can put in a little overlay to help visually explain it. But, yeah. Basically what you have to do is the most numbers you could add is 3 numbers at a time. So what it will do, hang on, no, I put it in the corner. Dum dum. Believe that's as far as I need to go. Yeah. So basically what it is yeah, 3 numbers. So you could have a digit from number 1. You could have a digit from number 2. And also you could have a carry digit from the previous number. And from the previous place value. And so that is the maximum number of digits you will ever need to add in binary. So that's what this does. In this first section that we built, it adds from number 1 and number 2. And then in the second section, it adds that with the carry. So I think that's a little bit more simple explanation as to how this works. In any case, that is the wrong place to put the carry wire if I want it to line up properly with the next row. But yeah. So anyways, here is the output from the, what is this? This is 64s, I think. This is 32s, so this is 64s. So 64 apostrophe S. I think it's an apostrophe. And I didn't even want to write it like that. I just wanted to write it 64s. And I apologize for my keyboard being really loud when I'm typing numbers, but it's the only mic I can use right at the moment is the built-in mic, which sounds like a pretty good mic to me. It's just when it comes to being a little bit noisy, it's a little bit noisy. Alrighty, so put in this repeater and take out this one for speed. And put in this repeater and take out this one because repeaters delay the signal a little bit. So we want as few of them as possible, but we also want it to work. There we are. So we've successfully got 64s working. So the next thing we need is to add a display light for the 128th place. So this is 64s. So we will grab a light bulb and fill in around it. And then label it 128. Now, we need 128 wire. There. Just throw the lamp on the ground, because we don't need it. Alright, so this is the carry from the 64s, which goes into the 128. So, carry to 128. How do you spell that? I don't know. I'll just figure that's good enough. How did I write it in here? Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'll just leave it. So, wire stringing all the way around the entire length of the calculator. Yeah, that's the only problem when you start to get really far away. But this is the smaller version of the calculator, and the previous one went all the way to the side of that mountain there, where the cow is. So, yeah, this is a lot smaller. Forward march, or forward redstone, yeah. Alrighty, now we're at the lamp, so now we just need to be able to connect it across all the other ones. So we'll make a bridge. There we are. And bring it all the way to the end of the bridge and connect it. Now we just need to boost the signal, and I'm hitting buttons again. Hello, there's my microphone. Now, alright, stop, please. Thank you very much. So, alright, so we just need to put repeaters in, and I'll be back as soon as that's done. Alrighty, so we got this light working. So now we just need to test it. So, lever reset. That should have turned off all of them, except it missed this one. Hello? Oh, no, it's because... Oh, duh. It's because I don't have this on the reset. There we are. Now everything's good. Alright, so, let's test it. So, the end here, this is 128, this is 64, and this is 32, so let's do 32 plus 32. There, 64. So that worked. Now, what if we turn this off and do 64? That worked. Plus 64. 128. Perfect. Alright, so it all works. So, yeah. So now we have a calculator that can take an input up to 127 plus 127, and it can output up to 254. This display is actually capable of outputting up to 255, but yes, because when you fill in, whoops, I have notifications going off. Hang on a second. All right. Yeah, this is able to do up to 100 and up to one less than 256, which is 255, except that the input will only be 254. So yes. Anyways, so the next thing is, I guess this is done, and I'm thinking we may as well I may as well show how the cloning works. So if I take this, I need to put in that gray block as a marker. So 1 down from the yellow thing, and on this line. So except there is no yellow thing. And so it's 1 to the left of the carry wire, and then in this line. So I'll put it right here. That should be good. Alright, so I've written a note. Stand to the left of this block when cloning, and do /clone. So I'll type it in except without the slash. So /clone 100, 100, 600 to. First I'll show the clone. There, so that's the usage. So clone 100, 100, 600 to 110, 103, 621. There it is. Tilde -10. I think that's called tilde. I'm not really sure. Tilde -1. Tilde. Alright. So that's the command I have to type in, except I need to put a slash in front of it. So let's get to this block. Stand to the left of this block when cloning, and do this command. So let's put a slash. Boom. Ta-da! There is another section. Now all we need to do with that is just simply connect it. So I'll do that off camera, and the only thing seems to be that I cloned it 1 too far over. So I'll because this block is 1 too far over, this is actually supposed to be right here. So yeah, so stand right to the left of that block. Left to the left, or right to the left, or something. So cloned again. There. Now this is set up so that this wire will join right up, right where it's supposed to. And so then all you have to connect is this output wire and this output of the carry and the inputs. So like this is a really easy setup. I'm not sure how I picked up that grass block, but this is a really easy setup. Once you get it working, just start cloning, and you can make as big a calculator as you want, basically. So yeah, I'm not sure how the render distance thing would fit into it, but if you make the things go off in the distance like that until the end of the render distance, because I'm not sure if the redstone gets cut off beyond where you can see. So if you make it go to the end of where you can see, and then you make the wires go to another section, maybe like over there or something like that, and then you can have a whole bunch more blah blah blah, blah like that, and you can have it going all the way around the calculator. You could get a really big number, probably, but yeah. So basically what this is it's not just a calculator, it's well, I mean, it is just a calculator right now, but my plan with this is to eventually, if possible, if Minecraft will go that fast, possibly turn it into a computer when I know more about how computers work from the ground up. So this is just a basic start, and I'm not really sure what step is next, but if anybody happens to know what's the next thing you need in building a computer, or like the next, yeah, then let me know. Like, I would assume it's the memory, but I'm not really sure how the memory would work. Yeah. Anyways, so hope you enjoyed this video, and 1 + 1 = 2. Goodbye!